Car Obsession is proudly supported by Carly and Draggy. Check out the video description to find out the latest discount codes. Over the years, Fast Fours have been well known for being working class heroes, the kind of car you can drive to the office and then blast down the B road on your way home. The Focus ST has just been one of many examples of the Blue Oval's pursuit to offer performance to the working man, and there's a new one. It's the facelift version of the Mark IV, and it all looks rather promising. Under the bonnet you have a 2.3 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine which feeds its power to the front wheels via a 6-speed manual gearbox, classic hot hatch formula, although you can have an automatic if you desire. The engine is connected to a double exhaust which isn't afraid to make itself heard, and in the middle you have chunky sport seats to hold you in place on those more spirited drives. So far everything looks to be on point, but there is an elephant in the room. The price. You see, this very car in front of you is almost £39,000. Granted, it has a few options, but even so, that isn't exactly loose change. Let's see what all that money gives you. Well, for starters, you get a 2.3 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine, which offers 280 horsepower along with 420 newton meters of torque. If you prefer that in pound-feet, I will of course drop a subtitle below. Now I'm sure many of you will be thinking, hang on, isn't that the same power as before? And you would be correct. This has the same performance as the pre-facelift. This will get to 62 miles per hour in 5.7 seconds, and the top speed, in case you're wondering, is 155 miles per hour. So yes, this car does indeed have the same amount of performance as beforehand, but in my opinion, the pre-facelift was never shouting for more power, was it? It was a very competent car when it came to performance. However, if you do want more performance from your Focus ST, don't forget you've got companies such as Mountune or Revo that will happily tickle the engine to get a bit more oomph out of it. The ST in standard form still packs quite a potent punch, and to help with the responsiveness, this has anti-lag technology which has been handed down from the Ford GT and the Ford F-150. Essentially, the clue's in the name, it's anti-lag. Therefore, you're not waiting for the turbo to spool up so you can get boost. No, it's ready to go, and that is a good thing. When it comes to the recipe of a hot hatch, I would argue the Focus ST ticks all the boxes. Sporty body kit, check. Larger alloys, check. Grippier tyres, check. Rear spoiler, check. Fruity exhausts. Check. Chunky front sport seats, check. Slick changing 6-speed manual gearbox, check. So yes, although this car is on the pricey side, for everything you'd kind of want from a hot hatch, I would argue this car gives you. Now, as you would expect from any modern hot hatch, I do have a choice of driving mode. So I have slippery, which I would argue in a car like this is pointless, particularly when you bear in mind this car is wearing Pirelli P0 tyres, but never mind. You've got normal and you have sport, but there is a fourth way. If you go for the Ford Performance Pack, which is an £800 optional extra, you also get a racetrack driving mode as well as adaptive dampers. That is a nice touch. So for example, in normal mode, you get a more compliant, docile ride. And of course in sport and in racetrack, you get a firmer, somewhat more jigglier ride. In sport and in racetrack, yeah, the ride is quite unsettled. But is it quite as jiggly as the Hyundai i30N? No, it isn't. But with the i30N, you do have the option of a custom mode, whereas in this car you don't. So there's no custom or individual setting, which is a little bit disappointing. So for example, you can't have the engine and the gearbox and the exhaust in sport mode and have the ride in normal. You just can't do it. It's all or nothing. Don't get me wrong, a bit of torque steer. Oh, that's an old Vanquish. Oh, that was lovely. Quite a rare sight on the road, probably because most of them have broken down. Anyway, I digress. There is a bit of torque steer to contend with, and I have found that the chassis does like to tramline a little bit, so sometimes it will follow imperfections or cambers in the road. Is it a deal breaker? No, but it is an observation. Now, as you may see, my torso is moving about a little bit because I do have the drive mode in sport, therefore the dampers are at their firmer setting. The sport seats, though, are doing a fine job in keeping me in place. Now, for me, the new sport seats are a little bit controversial. The old car, the pre-facelift, used Recaro seats, and Ford STs and RSs, they've been using Recaro seats for as long as I dare to remember. However, things have changed. Now, for the facelift, Ford has moved away from the German brand and is now making its own seats in-house. And to look at, if I lean forward, the integrated headrest, in my opinion, is ghastly. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. It kind of reminds me of Jabba the Hutt's head. It's just, yeah, a bit ungainly. Having said that, though, credit where credit's due, to sit in, these seats are absolutely fantastic. They hug you in the right places, they're supportive, they're comfortable, and you get a sense that they're quite happy to hold you in place when you're going around a race circuit, but also happy to offer you the comfort for a long drive across the country. So the breadth of ability of these seats is really, really good, in my opinion. Am I sitting here pining for the Recaros? Honestly, no, I'm not. So like I say, I have to give credit where it's due. These sport seats are cracking. One thing I will say, though, is that the hip bolsters are quite deep and pronounced, and myself and fellow YouTuber Pocket Rockets, we both found that getting in and out of the car isn't quite as dignified as you may want it to be. And you know, we're not exactly old men, so if you are someone that struggles to get in and out of a car, you may want to pop to your local Ford dealership and give these a go before you sign on the dotted line, because you may find getting in and out of these seats every day to be a bit of a chore. Once you're in them, though, you're in for a good time. Tickle the accelerator and the ST is ready to propel itself towards the horizon, and the performance is really, really strong. Okay, the 2.3 litre engine perhaps isn't quite as aggressive or as spiky as the 2 litre unit in the i30N, but it certainly holds its own. One thing I do really want to compliment is the weight of the pedals and the feedback. The clutch pedal has got a nice weight to it, but it isn't too heavy to the point where you're going to find it a little bit difficult to operate it in stop-start traffic. The brake pedal, it is borderline perfection. The brakes are strong, the feedback is natural, they're not over-assisted like in my Mark II Seat Land Cupra, and you get a real substantial feeling when you stomp down on the brake pedal, and that's what you want. It's just a really strong, meaty, crisp feedback. It's phenomenal, it really, really is. And of course, the accelerator is responsive, it's well weighted, and overall, all of the pedals do their job very well. In regards to heel and toe, I've had no real issues, but when you put it into sports mode, you do actually have an automatic rev matching function. So I'm in fourth now, so if I change into second, that shouldn't be too fast. You can hear the revs spike as you change down. Do it again. So I've spoken about the performance, but what about the handling? That is, of course, an important part of any hot hatch. So let's find some twisties. Oh, that didn't take long. Brakes perform really well. Of course, you've got the rev matching. The steering is razor sharp, and it's got a nice chunky, meaty feeling to it. The only criticism is that it is a little bit too eager to self-center. It is a little bit elastic, and I have had that problem with other Fords. So yeah, it does appear to be a Ford calibration kind of issue. But it's easy to look past that. Oh, those brakes are so good. Oh, the grip is really, really strong. Body roll is well controlled as well. and it's a really fantastic chassis. It's grippy, focused, but it's also playful as well. You can instigate a bit of lift-off oversteer if you really want to. It's got a nice, playful, boisterous character to it, whereas the i30N, sorry to keep referring to that, but I have driven that fairly recently-ish. The i30N feels a bit more, well, it feels even more focused. You get a sense the i30N just wants to go through the corner at the fastest speeds possible and with the cleanest line, whereas this wants to do that as well, but it also wants to have a bit of fun in the process. And this car is fun. I would say you can't put a price on that, but Ford has almost £39,000 with options, of course. Speaking of price, what exactly do you get for your hard-earned cash? The new ST starts from £36,855, although the car tested here would have cost you almost £39,000 at the time of filming, but today it would actually cost you almost £40,000. Ouch! Thankfully, the standard car does come with a lot of features, including 19-inch alloys, ST styling, matrix LED headlights, tinted rear windows, ST suspension, limited slip differential, dual zone climate control, 13.2-inch touchscreen with Ford Sync 4, front and rear parking sensors, reversing camera, heated front seats and steering wheel, keyless entry, wireless phone charging, and a good host of safety systems. The car tested here has got optional extras including the mean green paintwork, head-up display, performance pack, driver assist pack, and parking pack. In regards to practicality, that is the same as the pre-facelift, meaning you get a boot offering 375 litres with the rear seats up and 1,250 with them folded down. Rear space is decent, and with it being a Focus, there are a good amount of cubby holes as well. Now, of course, the dash is dominated by this brand new, very large 13.2-inch touchscreen, which does look good, although like other Ford models, it does look like a tablet that's kind of been super glued onto the dash, but I'll look past that. It's easy to use, yes, okay, the climate control functions are in the touchscreen and are no longer physical controls, but to use on the move, even with the car in sport mode where it is a little bit more jiggly, it's quite easy, and you can use voice recognition as well if you want to make your life a bit easier. But the touchscreen, it's clear, it's smooth, responsive, it works very well, and it has Ford's new Sync 4 system. The Sync 3 system had been around for a long time. There's rumours that if you look hard enough in the Bible, you will see a reference to the Ford Sync 3 system. But to be fair, the Sync 3 worked well, and you know what they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So yeah, it served Ford for quite a few years, and it was a pretty successful system. This is a really well sorted hot hatch, but my views on this car are somewhat conflicted. I do feel a little bit, what's the word? I do feel split in regards to how I feel, because this is, wait for it, this is a really good cracking hot hatch. Definitely one that it stands out in its sector. But I'm really struggling to justify the price. I love fast Fords, I have done for years. But even I would struggle to really argue the case of this car when you've got, I'm going to mention it again, the Hyundai i30M. That's cheaper, offers better value for money, comes with a 5-year warranty, which also covers you for track usage as well. I mean, if you're wearing your sensible trousers, surely you're going to go for the car with the H on the front and not the blue oval. And that's a real pity, because this is a really good car. Would I own one of these? Yeah, I would, but not at the sake of paying this amount of money for it. Fast Fords have always been flying the flag for value, but it feels like Ford has lost its way a little bit. The brand new Fiesta ST, when you load that up with options, it's about 28 or so grand for Fiesta. Now, okay, don't get me wrong, I know that all cars are going up in price. It's just the way of the world. Everything is increasing, apart from our wages, am I right? But I just feel like Ford has almost priced itself out of the market with the facelifted Focus ST. And I know that if you wanted a Golf GTI, that would cost you more money than this, but it's just difficult to really truly recommend this car. Oh boy, the difficult part, the conclusion. Now, I love a fast Ford and I love this car. I think this offers everything you'd want from a hot hatch. It's fun, exciting, rewarding to drive. This is a really good bit of kit, but the price, it's just a bit too much, Ford. This no longer offers that real bang for your buck that you used to get from a fast Ford. And when you've got cars like the Hyundai i30N knocking on the door, which are cheaper and represent better value, it makes it difficult to make a compelling case for the new Focus ST, which is a real shame because it is a really, really good car. This is a fun car, but at a serious price. So, should you try, buy or avoid the new Focus ST? I think you should try it. Yes, it is a cracking car, and if your pockets are deep enough, I think you will be happy with your purchase, but there are some very good rivals out there, so be sure to book your test drives. A big thank you to Ford UK for loaning me this car for the week, and of course a big thank you to you guys watching this video. I do hope you have enjoyed it or found it useful. If so, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. If you are subscribed, don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. But until the next time guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession.